today I thought I wanted to run you through my building a cinema rig around the Canon C70 camera. It is a wonderful camera, but it has a major flaw, I think, where it is very hard to add extra accessories. It only has one mounting point basically, and that's the shoe mount on the top here. I've been browsing for a while and I found this cage from Zacuto. Now, this is a brand new offering from Securo. It just arrived this morning, and by the looks of it, it looks really, really nice. It has an inbuilt NATO rail. It also has a hot shoe mount here, where you can add whatever accessories you like. On the side, you have an inbuilt HDMI clamp, which for some may be familiar if you have had a Zacuto cage in the past. And on the side here, you can mount a side handle as well. So I'm really looking forward to building my rig around this cage. So let's see if we can actually mount the cage itself, and it should be really straightforward. It has a screw on the top here and on the bottom here, which should, and it also, as you can see here, it has an inbuilt mount here, which should fit in the cold shoe of the camera. See if we can slide on nicely. Fits like a glove. Let's just see a bit further here. Okay, there I think we more or less go. Like so, and you can really feel the cage gripping to the camera, and we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. See if we can tighten it down. There we go. So to further secure the cage, Zacuto has supplied two screws that go on the bottom of the Canon C70 as well, and they are to secure both the cage to the camera, but also to be a sturdy attachment point for the base plate, which I think is one of the weaker points of the Canon C70. It only comes with one screw for attaching base plates. And the cage here actually surprised you with 1, 2, 3, 4 extra points of attachment. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this base plate now. One large screw, like this. If there's only one screw, you can feel there's a little wiggle in it. I don't like that, especially when you're shooting on a tripod where you want things to be stable. So I always like to secure them with two screws, like this. Just line it up a little, tighten it, and there you go. Now you have two solid points of attachment. Now this base plate isn't going anywhere. Okay, so the next thing I want to add is this handle. Now this is an older handle I have lying around. This is, I think it's called a Securo Gradical. It has two hot shoe mounts here, and you can also mount a viewfinder or 15mm rod or attachment or whatever you need. I really like this handle. It's really sturdy and nice, but basically any handle that has a NATO compatibility will work. If it's small rig or Condor Blue, it should work. So let's see if we can just slide this on. There we go. Nice little handle, and you can obviously also mount this the other way around as well. I like to keep my handle this way because I want my hand to actually stop here and not go any further. So the next thing I want to add to my build, because I have passed my 40s and my eyesight is no longer what it used to be, so I need a bigger monitor. And I already have this monitor from Blackmagic. It's the 5-inch HDR 4K monitor, and it has a small rig monitor mount on it. Now you can also add a Zacuto set rail viewfinder mount, which you could obviously just slide on here if you want. I'm going to utilize this hot shoe here. I'm just going to mount it down like so. Just slides on. And there we go. You have a nice solution for monitors. And just going to tighten it down this way as well. So now it's tightened both ways. It's been tightened down by this screw on the side here, and also on the screw on the monitor mount itself. Really nice. So this makes a really nice and sturdy and compact solution, I think. Okay, so far so good. So I have chosen this blue shape battery. The main thing I chose this battery for is that it has a D-tap output, so I can power both the camera and a monitor on the same at the same time with just this D-tap to DC cable. So just gonna mount that battery like so, and then run a cable to my monitor. Now I'm able to power both my camera and my monitor at the same time. Now another important part of my rig is audio. I see a lot of times a lot of rigs without any microphones or anything attached to it. Not sure how they get audio. But as a documentary shooter, I don't always have the freedom or luxury of a sound engineer on the set or on location. So most oftentimes I have to do the audio myself. If I have budget for it, I will use a sound guy technician, but if I don't, I have to fix it myself. So I have decided to go ahead with one of these small cold shoes from Small Rig, and I'm going to attach it on the side here, and I'll show you in just a minute. So let's just go ahead and tighten this down. Like so. Nice and secure. And I have chosen to go with the Rode NTG5 microphone. It's a really lightweight, really nice little microphone. It actually replaces my older NTG3 microphone, which I've been using for many years. And you can see here that I have mounted it on the original microphone mount that came with the camera. And if you're like me, have ever wondered about what is this item, these two, they're actually a cold shoe attachment. So you just put it on the side here. This one goes through the whole mount. Then you just secure those two together. And then you have a cold shoe mount. I'm going to go ahead and place this on this side, slide it in here, and secure it down like so. And there we have a microphone attached to our camera, so now we can record audio as well without being hooked up to a sound engineer. In order for me to use my monitor, I need to attach an HDMI cable. Now, why HDMI? Well, that is the way 4K works on these types of cameras. The only way you can get a 4K signal out of this camera to a monitor recorder is via the HDMI cable. I think one of the few cameras on the market that can actually use SDI for 4K signal is the C300 Mark II, which I used to previously own. I had success in recording 4K via an SDI cable on an Adamas, I think it was a Shogun I used to own before, but that was just too big and cumbersome. So what I have here is an older Adamas HDMI cable. It's a flexi cable, or sort of flexi anyway. Just get the right angle, and I'm going to attach that to the HDMI in on a monitor. And on the side here, you can see that the cage comes supplied with an HDMI securing locking device. So I'm going to attach the HDMI cable to the camera like this. Now what you have to be a little careful of, and what actually tripped me off, was that before you attach the cage to the camera, go ahead and pull out this plastic cover, because with that cover on, you won't be able to open the HDMI cover and actually put the HDMI cable in. So I just pulled it out. Now that we have the HDMI cable in, we can just secure it by the knob here. And there we go. Now the cable won't come loose. The weakest point of this build is actually the HDMI cable going into the monitor recorder, and which is why I have attached the cable on the inside and out on the outside, so it should be protected. And I'm also going to attach a another little thing, and that's the Zacuto side handle. This handle came with my GH5S cage many moons ago, so I decided to keep it in case I could actually use it again sometime. And I'm going to see if this will actually work on this cage. It should work, because on the side here you have, there we go, you have a rail built into the system. And now you can see we have the side handle and the original handle, and all of a sudden I have an extremely sturdy rig which should be able to withhold the rigors of documentary filmmaking, whatever kind of environment you actually throw the camera in. Well, perhaps not rain or slate or snow, but that's any camera. But the build itself is really secure. You can see there are no loose cables, there's just nothing loose with this rig. So that was my build of a cinema rig for my Canon C70 camera. Your rig may be different. I think this rig is going to suit me just fine. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I would love to hear your comments on my rig, if there's anything you think could have been done differently, or I mean, this was my suggestion. I think it's going to work fine for me. I'm curious to see what builds other filmmakers are making out of their rigs, so please feel free to go ahead and leave some comments below. And I just want to point out that when we as filmmakers invest in a system, it's fairly easy to get overwhelmed by all of the offers that are out there for cages and monitors and recorders and I don't know, whatnots, and audio solutions. And as a producer, and I'm always thinking about budget, and I'm trying not to just waste money on gear, because in the end nobody really cares. They care about the results, they care about the images that you as a shooter will actually supply, and they care about story. I used to own a Canon C200. I thought it would be a fantastic camera for me. Turns out it wasn't, because I spent ridiculous amounts of money on storage, because it just ate up terabyte after terabyte of hard drive space. For what? My clients didn't care. I just had a lot of expenses with it, so I just sold everything off, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna go with a different system. But I have always loved the color science in the Cinema EOS series of cameras, because I think they shoot really, really lovely images. And I really like the colors that come out of the cameras. And so Canon for me was a obvious choice to look at. And when the C70 arrived, I thought, 10-bit internal, DCI, 4K, what's not to like? My main gripe with the camera is the monitor, which I think is it's not a weak point, but it's a drawback when you're outside in broad daylight shooting, because that is difficult, and that's something that has plagued Canon for a while now. Zacuto also makes these excellent set finders. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and Google it, and you'll find out it's a really neat system. It's just basically a loop that you put on the screen. For me personally, I thought it was too expensive, because I think it's $300 just for the mount itself, and I thought that's too much for me. I already had this monitor lying around, and it's 2,500 nits. I'm just fine with it outdoors. And I thought, okay, I love shooting ProRes. I love working with ProRes. I've shot with it for many years. Okay, why not? So what I'm trying to say is, don't build, when you're building a rig, try to figure out what about the camera that is actually fighting you, that isn't working for you. And set yourself a budget. Don't go ahead and waste a lot of money on gear just because it looks cool. It has to serve a purpose. Every part of this rig serves a purpose. The monitor serves the purpose for me because it solves the problem of outdoor shooting, and it also gives me a ProRes codec. This Rode NTG5 microphone is a really, really lovely microphone. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and it's high quality. It's broadcast quality. I used to own a Sennheiser MKH 416. It was a lot longer. I love Rode. They give a lot of value for the money. The tactical gradical handle is probably it's perhaps one of the things I don't like so much about it, because it's big. It just adds bulk. I don't need the parts back here, but it was a handle I had lying around. I'm not going to spend $200 just for another Zacuto handle. And what else? The blue shape battery. Now, batteries, as I mentioned in one of the previous videos, they're quite expensive, and this battery gives me long runtime, and it also supplies the camera with a D-tap output, so I can actually power my monitor recorder off the same battery. I don't have to add weight and bulk, extra charges, extra. I don't have to spend that cash. I have a perfectly fine and lovely cinema rig here. It's not cinema glass. Do I care? No, not really, because this lens is something I had lying around from my C300 shooting days. It works just fine. It's not up there with the L quality series from Canon build-wise, but optically it's a lovely lens. It's a bit to the warm side. Sigmas are a bit colder, a bit clinical, I find. I would love to shoot at a 24mm Canon CNE Prime. Would probably just live on my camera and just stick with that. Perhaps a 20mm actually would be better for me, because I love shooting a bit wide. But this lens serves my purpose just fine. It's not a very expensive lens. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if I ramble a bit too much, but I like to share my knowledge, and I like to talk to other filmmakers as well, and see what kind of ideas they have. And you know, it's a tough industry. We don't have to make it tougher than it is, and I'm more concerned about supporting myself and my family. I don't spend a lot of money on gear anymore. I used to. I don't do it anymore, because I can actually use that money for my wages, which goes back into my pension, which is more important to me. I love making films, but everything has a price, and for me this rig now is perfect. In my next video, I think it's perfect. In my next video I'm going to demonstrate how I'm actually going to use it, and I'm going to see if it works stability wise. So please join me in my next videos, and I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye.